So in this video, I'm going to go over the exact Google shopping strategy we are using at Growth for all of our clients, but specifically for this client to generate them an 8.25 ROAS in Google Shopping. If you're to look at some of the success we had for this client, what you're seeing is the 2024 non-growth management prior to our management. And for context, we manage both their Google ads and their Meta ads. And last year, in the 12 months, they spent £121,000 to generate £685,000 across both the UK and US websites. That is a ROAS of 5.63. Now, in the 6 months we've been working with them, we have managed to spend £55,000 of ad spend to generate them £645,000 in revenue at an 11.61 ROAS. That is a significant improvement we've had on this in this website already, and a large of that has actually come from the Meta and the Google ads. This figure here actually includes our fee. This client wanted to include our fee within this so they can get an idea of what the return on ad spend is from working with us, which has definitely proved itself already. But this is looking at ad spend on its own. So it's worked out really well. If we go onto this dashboard here, in the time we spent £27,000 in the UK Google ads at a 8.97 ROAS. In the US, we've spent £19,300 at a 7.24 ROAS. So in this video, it's going to be broken down into 5 key pillars to success. First one starting is the simple campaign structure we use. Then we're going to move on to feed optimization. Then we'll look at some high converting landing page designs, and then we're going to look at A/B testing, listings, and then finally cross-platform demand generation. If I wanted you to just take one thing away from this case study video or this video, it is that extraordinary Google Ads performance isn't just built inside of your platform. It is built from the elements outside of the account. It is the work you do outside of the account that are often one-off, that can significantly improve your performance inside your Google Ads account. The approach you need to take if you want to be successful with Google Ads is a holistic approach. And what a holistic approach means, it is a method that considers all of the aspects of a situation or a problem rather than just focusing on the individual part. And what this means in terms of this is you don't just optimize your Google Ads campaigns. You can't just have tunnel vision for optimizing your campaign performance. You need to think of the things outside of your Google Ads account that are going to significantly improve the performance inside of the account. These are things like product imagery that drives CTR, that drives attention, grabs eyeballs, a website content that actually converts your user, and a website structure that guides users, gives them all of the elements they need to convert. And then also got to think of generating demand, because Google is just there to capture demand. Demand generation, all this is getting there, but right now you're going to be generating your demand on Meta and you're going to be capturing it on Google. This client wasn't running Meta ads before, and now we've run into Meta ads, and the amount of new customers and the amount of demand we're generating for them, now we're running Meta and Google, is significant. Let's get down into the elements of this. What we're going to start with is our simple campaign structure, and this is based off the 80-20 principle by Pareto. And when we translate it into Google Ads, what this means is that 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your products. And that's exactly how we're going to structure our campaigns as a result of that. So if I see here, we have a PMAX campaign and another PMAX campaign. We have a higher demand campaign and a lower demand campaign. Our higher demand campaign contains the 20% of products that generate 80% of our revenue. And the lower demand campaign contains the 80% of products, the rest of our products pretty much. The reason we put our winners in a separate campaign is because if we put all of these products together in one campaign, you are naturally going to see the winners take all of the ad spend and not leave much for our lower demand products, because we want to give these lower demand products still a fair chance. And if we put everything in one campaign, the spend is just all going to go to our top performers, which isn't an issue, but by having a segmentation, we have greater budget management to give our lower demand products a chance to generate revenue, because they can still generate you good ROAS. The next point to mention is A/B testing. And this talks about A/B testing standard shopping versus performance max. And the reason we do this is because every single Google Ads account I've worked in reacts differently to to standard shopping and PMax. So what we want to do is run both PMax and standard shopping as campaign types with the exact same structure, higher low demand. And the aim is to make one redundant. We don't want to be running both of them at the same time forever, but we need to run them at both at the same time to give us enough data to qualify whether one is a winner or one is a loser. And then when we have a loser, we're going to turn that off. But the funny thing is, with this client, we have 2 websites and we have 2 Google Ads accounts. One is for the UK, one is for the US. The UK runs on Performance Max. The US runs on standard shopping. We know that because we have the highest ROI from that, from the testing we've done. And we wouldn't know that otherwise. So moving on to the most important one, which is the foundation of high ROAS for Google Shopping, which is feed optimization. Your feed is the backbone of your Google Shopping success. And it is where you see all of the performance come from. For this client, because they had under 20 SKUs, we used a manual feed. So this is a glimpse of their feed here. This is the one we're running now. But let's have a look where they started. That's where they started. So the titles were this. The descriptions were like this. So we took it from this and we are now running with it like this. So if we're looking into the starting point, so this is a visual of the starting point. What we have here is Brennan Helix Multiroom CD Player as a title. But for the context of this product, what it does, it is a CD ripper. It is also a CD player with Sonos. It's compatible with Sonos. There's so many more things than just a CD player that they are putting in a title that we're not including or not showing up for as a result of it. Then if we go on to the image, which looks criminal to me, it looks like for the amount of money this is, and bearing in mind this is the cheaper version of it, the flagship one is £800. Okay, so you're using an image like this, which is rather low quality, so the perception of it is rather low quality and low trust. You have an expensive product, a high ticket item, so you need to make sure it is represented with the imagery you use. And it's not even square either, it's landscape. But let's go down into our product titles. And your product titles are number one. They're really important for Google Shopping because they account for 85% of the reason your ad shows up. So I'm not going to go over it in too much detail in this video specifically because I have done a dedicated video, this one here, best product title structure for Google Shopping ads. And it's 50 minutes long, just talking about Google Shopping titles. There's so much value in this, so please go watch that one. And I'm only going to talk about specifically what we did for this client because we follow a 4-step approach to actually generate you these winning titles. It's what we've crafted from working with Google Ads clients. But what we want to talk about first is your titles, your character counts. Your title counts for 80 to 85% of the reason your ad shows up. Imagine if it was a search campaign, these are all your keywords you're bidding on. They are really integral to get right. So what we recommend is two things: to maximize the 150 characters available, number one, but you want to make sure these are highly relevant and keyword rich keywords. You want to make sure they're actually keywords that people are converting with and are searching. And then number three is you want to front load the highest priority keywords at the front and then go down in priority. So the most important at the front, the least important at the back. So that's what you need to know about your titles. And then let's go into the research process we use. What we're going to start with is extracting primary keywords from your product page. So you want to, well, from my perspective as an agency, I want to look at their product titles. I want to look at their descriptions. I want to know about this product as much as possible to harvest some basic keywords, basic descriptions of the product. And then once I know, for example, that this product is a CD player, it is a CD ripper, it is a hi-fi system. Once I know these sort of keywords, I'm then going to go down to the competitor analysis. And what I'm going to do here is just Google these keywords. And I'm going to Google them like this. So CD ripper, but I'm going to go and look and see what our competitors are doing in terms of their title structure, in terms of the keywords they're using. I'm just basically going to be like, okay, I wonder why they thought that's important to use, because if they've gone through the process of structuring titles, I can sort of funnel hack it and copy it basically, or, take a lot of inspiration from it. So I'm going to look at the structure and the contents, the keywords. So that's number two. Number three, which is the best. This is the best thing you can possibly do, is some historical data mining. And what you want to do is review high converting search terms from existing campaigns. What is already working? And you have two things to use in your Google Ads account here. You have your search term reports from both PMax and search campaigns. So I want to go through and look at the historical performing keywords from search campaigns, but the real gem is where you find it in your PMax Insights tab. And what we found here is some other important elements of what converts with this client. So this was the category here, Sonos CD player. So this product is compatible with Sonos. That's the selling feature of it, but it wasn't mentioned in the title at all. So now I know Sonos CD player is a high driver for conversions for this, but then also CD ripper and also CD Ripper storage player. So look, from that, just from this process, I figured out some other ones here. So CD player, CD Ripper, hi-fi system. Then I'm also put Sonos CD player, CD Ripper storage device. So yeah, from that, we've gone from just being CD player, or even not even at CD multi-room, to now having these keywords that people are using to convert. Number 4 is to then, now we have these keywords, what I'm going to do is actually copy and paste these, and I'm going to go into the keyword planner in Google Ads, and I'm just going to validate if there's any other keywords or any other search terms that I may have missed from this so far. And then we're going to basically put those into our titles, and we're going to end up with something like this. So we went from the top of it, which was just Brennan Helix multi-room CD player. Now we have multi-room CD player and Ripper with SD card storage compatible with Sonos. Okay, so we've significantly improved it, and we're now covering the majority of these main keywords that people are using to convert. And then for why this is really important to do is this one here. So how you describe your product and how you may search for something on Google Ads will be different to how someone else searches for it on Google Ads. So you need to make sure you are covering all of the differentiating search terms people are using just specifically for CD player, for CD Ripper, but also for where they are in a funnel. Okay, they may not know the specifics to be bottom of funnel in the converting keywords. They may have more broad keywords at the top of the funnel. The premises of how you do your product descriptions is the same as what you do for your product titles. You prioritize them with the high converting keywords at the start, and you go down in priority order, include the long tail keywords that didn't fit in your titles. And then what you want to do is maintain natural compelling copy that converts these browsers into buyers. You're focusing more on the description of your product, but you want to maintain it to 1,500 characters max. So if we're to look in here, we have up to 5,000 characters available. But the reason we only limit it to 1,500 is because we want to make sure they're super relevant and high converting. If I say to you, no, you need to maximize 5,000 characters, you're probably going to throw in a load of nonsense. And I harvested as much as I could from this description in order to make sure it was super relevant, and I only got to 950 characters. So 1,500 max is great, but anything over that, you're probably going to be doing more bad for your descriptions than good, because you're going to be showing up for irrelevant searches, and it means you're going to have to be harvesting your negatives. So 1,500 is the sweet spot you want to aim for. Now we're going to move on to product photography. One of the main key things for this client, as we look at the before, was the imagery. So the imagery just lacked trust. It lacked professionalism for a product that ranged from £279 to £730. What we did for this client is we sent it off to our product photography partner. So I'm not a product photographer, I'm not a CRO expert, but I know enough about them in order to understand what works well and what will convert as a result of that. So we sent these products off to our partner, and they created some really good product photography. So yeah, they took it looking from this, very amateur on a kitchen table, to looking like this, which is a highly professionally shot product with, we got CD on the top, a nice Dell CD, and then we also got a CD tray open. It's more of a visual aspect, it's a bit more engaging, and it's not a front-on image. If we're to look at some of the images that we used, I can show you down here. So we have the one open with the CD on top, the CD tray out. We have the front on. Okay, this is a good one. And then we also have the one with the app, because it is compatible with an app. So that's what we went from looking like these. So these product photography images like that. So that really significantly improved our CTR. So product images are really good for capturing eyeballs. Now moving on to the next part, which is our landing page optimization, where traffic converts. And what we had to start with for this client was a product page that looked like this. Okay, so I used dark feature. This was the original product page, and this is the one that still is in use, for example, here. Yeah, not a huge amount of information there, and not enough that maybe some people would need to convert if they're brand new to this brand. A new customer would go onto this and maybe not get all the information they need. So what we did, we worked with our CRO partner to have a custom landing page made, which took it from that to looking like this. So it was more of a PDP. So the products, when you could buy it was actually at the bottom. And all we're doing through the process of here is mainly for a new customer, we're introducing the Brennan Free. Then we're talking about the founder of it, the reason why it was made, getting a bit of a story behind it. and then we're going to go to a simple 3-step process of how you buy it, and then we're going to compare it. We're going to do us versus them with Brennan B3 versus high-end CD players. And then we're going to go to other parts, so Brennan B3 features, and then other products, B3 overview, and then we get to the bottom, and this is where you can actually buy the product. So we're really just reverse engineering it. We're educating them on our way down until they're ready to convert. Now we move on to a good one, which is our A/B testing in Google Shopping. The primary elements we're testing are our landing pages, and then we're going to be testing product image styles. And what we like to do is to isolate these tests. So for example, we have one of our products here, which is B3 Plus here. So what we will make from this one product is we'll have a duplicate, 2 more duplicates. So we'll have the master version, which is the original one. We're going to have duplicate A, where we're going to be testing new landing page URL. And then we'll have duplicate B, where we're going to be testing new product imagery. The first one we're going to be testing is a plain white background, which is our original product imagery. This is clean, professional, e-commerce standard products. But they're great, but you know, they don't stand out as much because everyone else does it. And that's sort of what Google wanted us to do at the start. But now they're encouraging us to be a bit more experimental with the product imagery we use in Google Shopping. So the other elements we're going to be testing in terms of this is colored backgrounds. So maybe we could use a light blue background, for example, okay, just to grab some attention and be completely different to what our users are doing here. So we've done a lot of testing. We realized the white background worked. So that's why we don't have it here. What you can test is a blue background to test how that grabs attention compared to just a plain white background, because it will stand out better. And the next thing you can test is a lifestyle imagery. And this is what Google Ads is encouraging you to do directly in your Google Merchant Center. So that's what we had to start with, for example, with the improved product photography. Then we had to test this one, which was just on a counter there in some sort of studio. And then we had this one with some speakers behind it. So what we're doing is just testing a few different iterations of lifestyle imagery. And then for the final one, for when we're testing our landing pages, it's very much a simple process of what we do is duplicate it and we change out one of the products to have the new landing page. So for this example, we have B3 Plus here for the item ID. Then we have B3 Plus hyphen or dash LP, which stands for landing page. So that's what we do there. And then we just run them all in tandem. Okay, I don't particularly like to isolate the tests, just put them in your campaigns and see which one Google's algorithm naturally takes. So then moving on to the final one, which is our cross-platform strategy of using Meta and Google Ads to maximize your ROAS. So I'm going to do a full video on this client's Meta ads because their Meta ads absolutely rocked. They did really, really well. They're doing really, really well. And we're spending more on Meta than we were on Google now. What I want you to just understand is Meta generates demand, Google captures demand. In fact, let's just go to look at their Meta ads here in our dashboard. And we can just see why the Meta ads was doing so well. So the UK Meta ads spent $6,000 to generate an 11.3 ROAS in the UK. And then in the US Meta ads, we spent $7,000 at a 9.57 ROAS. So the ROAS has actually been better from Meta. And yeah, I can go into more detail around that in a later video for Meta. Overall, guys, that's it from me for this video. If you are an e-commerce brand generating over £50,000 per month and you would like us to manage your campaigns, we know a thing or two about it, then please go to the website here. You can look at more of our case studies. We have a huge amount of case studies. We focus on new customer acquisition. We want to generate new customers because that's where your lifetime value and your growth is actually built, from new customers, not retargeting to existing customers. And then you can look at a few more case study videos here. And then what you need to do is go to the buttons here along the thing and book in a call to speak to me or a member of the team. And we can get you from where you are now in terms of probably being profitable to where you want to be in terms of profitability. Okay, thank you guys. I will see you in the next.